Hello people of the internet, my name is JD Shadow, and as you might be aware if you have been trying to watch my reaction of the episode Kung Food on Miraculous Ladybug on my channel, you may have noticed probably recently that both the original video and the re-upload have been blocked in several countries. Now I am going to show you the amount of countries that these have been blocked on, and there are too numerous to name here, but United States, Germany, and the United Kingdom are among the several of them. And you may have figured out just exactly why. It is because of a copyright claim by three particular claimants that we are going to list right now. B Viacom, that's B_Viacom, Disney, and On Entertainment. Now, B Viacom, we do not know whether or not this is actually Viacom who is making this claim, or if it's somebody just using the Viacom name in order to copyright troll. There have been conflicting reports as to who this is, and it would be very helpful if we knew for certain who this is, and if this was actually Viacom, who owns Nickelodeon, who has the United States rights to broadcast Miraculous Ladybug on their channel, to actually say Viacom International instead of this weird ass name. I have no idea whether or not this is actually Viacom or not, and apparently a lot of people are confused as to who this actually is. Disney does own Miraculous Ladybug rights to a particular country. I do not remember which one though. However, this is going to become very apparent in just a second as to why I do believe this should not be. The last one is On Entertainment. Now, no one really knew right off the bat who these people were. I did not know. However, I had to do a few minutes of digging to find out that On Entertainment is a alternative name to Method Animation, who do have a hand on Miraculous Ladybug in the creation of it. Basically, they assist Zagtooth in the creation of the animation, as I figure. And the only way that I was able to find this out, that On Entertainment was Method Animation, was in the credits to the show, in which it shows the logo of AB International Distribution, where it actually says that it has on its site, it says, quote, industrial and strategic partnership with On Entertainment / Method Animation, producer of premium kids content, The Little Prince, Miraculous Ladybug, 7 and Me, First Hybrid Animation Series, Playmobil Super 4, Iron Man Armored Adventures, and Peter Pan. Now, this gets very confusing because at first I thought this was also somebody who did not have any hand in the creation of the show. And me having to do a bit of digging to find out that On Entertainment and Method Animation were the exact same company who used two different names is really confusing and makes you wonder what exactly is going on. So yeah, this is happening. Video blocked in 131 countries. This is troublesome, especially when the fact that this happened on both the original and the re-upload of this video. You may recall in my re-upload, I had increased the pitch on a particular part of the video. This is where you saw the chef going to make his soup, which he was going to present to the judges in the taste testing competition. In that sense, you would more or less remember that I did a Gordon Ramsay impersonation when he was making the soup. This was upped in pitch a little bit, or at least the actual sound of the episode itself, because this was the part in which the original video had a problem with. They claimed it for that one particular part in that particular time code. This latest one, the one that had been claimed, the re-upload one, is claimed in a different spot. This was at 8:56 to 9:28, and this is when Cat Noir destroys the bag that Kung Food was using in order to produce his weaponry. This is in a rather common spot. This is usually when Ladybug does her deakumatizing, which is more or less the stock animation and the usual audio cues that you would normally see when she does that sequence. This is a common thing in just about every single episode, and I had shown these in the past without any sort of problem. This is the first time that I've had such an issue with any claimant, with anybody in the terms of copyright issues. This is not just a monetization issue, because if that was the case, they would just get monetization rights. This is a viewing restriction. You cannot watch watch this video right now. You cannot view the video at all. No one is making money off of it. And I wonder why. I wonder what makes them wanting to block the video outright. If it was just a monetization issue, then okay, so maybe we can worry about the monetization thing and we don't have to worry about anybody not being able to watch it, because that's what I'm worried about. I'm worried about people being able to see it. This is by no means my only video or my first video. This is a video in which if it doesn't get monetized, then okay, so that's not the only video I ever have. It would suck by all stretches of the imagination, but it's not the end of the world. The fact that it's not being able to be seen is another matter entirely, because of a few things to be aware of. You might recall that I did a special report about Miraculous Ladybug fan policies after a person who got a cease and desist letter by Zagtoons had asked to figure out whether or not that was legitimate email, and they got confirmation that it was. Later on, there were the fan policy and guidelines as of March 1st, 2016. The major thing that came out of this was that longer than 2 minutes of a clip of the show on an online streaming site, torrent site, do not produce or release or sell copies of any episode or clip longer than 2 minutes, or to sell own merchandise. That's a standard thing. Don't like sell like plushies and stuff like that are not licensed and stuff like that. You know the drill about that. The only real problem I saw with this is the not safe for work stuff, which I just doubted their ability to enforce that the way that they think they can, because there's just probably way too many things that they would have to look at to be able to enforce that thoroughly and effectively. And what is going on here? This is what I was concerned about. The issue of reviews and critique of the show. Now, you may be looking at this and saying, yeah, this is not longer than 2 minutes of any clip I use. So what is the problem here? Well, Zagtoons are not the ones who are issuing this claim. This is Method Animation, this is Disney, this is Viacom, if we are to believe that that is actually Viacom that is making the claim. Here's the issue. I have now reached out to Zagtoons. I have now made an email to them explaining the situation. And I have, as of right now, waiting to hear back from them, assuming that I do at all. I do not know whether or not I went to the right email. I do not know whether or not they will actually respond. I do not know whether or not they will care. Now, here's where it gets a little bit interesting. This is where it gets actually very interesting. I have made counterclaims on both of these videos. On the day that I got those emails saying that there was a copyright claim by these 3 companies. These are the same 3 companies that got to both videos, but on each video, it was for a separate time code. This is the one episode they seemed to want to fight with me about, because they came back and saying that these were legitimate claims. They were valid claims. They basically reinstated them, which basically means that you can't monetize video, or no video was monetized. No one's able to see it, so how can you monetize it? However, on the first one, not the re-upload, the first one, I know it's going to get a little bit confusing, and I don't have any other way, I don't have any better way in order to describe to you about which one's the first video and which one's the re-upload. On the first one, I had issued an appeal. Now, a bit of a refresher as to how this stuff works. A counterclaim, if they come back and saying, hey, this is a valid claim, then you do not get penalized further. It just returns to what it was before you made the counterclaim. You can then appeal it, which is the second step to try to prove that you have a legitimate case as to why this video should be monetized by you, or whether or not this video should not be blocked in these countries. If they come back a second time and saying, hey, we still believe that this is valid, then you get penalized with a strike on the account. This is those copyright strikes that we know and oh so love. Notice the sarcasm in my voice. And as I have pointed out in a previous video, YouTube recently changed how they penalize you for copyright strikes. One strike does not severely cripple your channel as it once did, and that is a sorely welcome change. But here is the interesting part. They came back on both counterclaims and reinstated them pretty damn quickly, within about maybe 5, 6, 7 or so hours of me issuing the counterclaim. However, when I went to file the appeal appeal, the one that would get me a strike if they came back and said that this was still valid, they seem to be in no hurry to do so. They seem to be in absolutely no hurry to say whether or not, hey, we own this, take it down, or yeah, maybe he has a point, we're going to release the claim. Now, why is that? I have a reason why. It's because of a few issues. One, obviously, we've known in the past that some people, some claimants are really douchebaggery in the way that they will wait the full 30-day window. Remember that a company, once you issue a counterclaim or an appeal, have 30 days to respond, and if they do not, then it is automatically released and you don't have to worry about that anymore. Some companies will wait that full 30 days and then reinstate the claim. Now, they cannot really do that anymore because of this issue that YouTube has recently put it to where if you dispute a claim, the money made on the video is put into some sort of trust fund or whatever it's called until the claim is resolved one way or another. And the person that wins the claim gets that money. It does not work the way it used to where even if you issue a counterclaim, the full 30 days that you're waiting, that claimant still got the money. That's how it used to be. This time is a little different. If they respond really quickly, they cannot make any money off of it either way. Either they respond quickly by revalidating their claim and the video gets taken down, or they respond quickly by releasing the claim and I get the money from it. This is really sneaky, and it made me suspicious as to who these people were. This was what made me very suspicious. Made me think that these are the kinds of people that will wait the full 30 days before reinstating the claim. That way, they get the full amount of money that they could get, the full potential, rather, of the money that they could get from the video before reinstating and get it taken down. Because if they do not respond, then any money that was made from it goes to me, not to them. So, yeah, they're gonna milk it for all it's worth before reinstating it. You notice that now that original video of Kung Fu is no longer on YouTube. I had deleted it because I had a feeling that was what they were trying to do. That was before this situation. I had deleted that episode, and guess what happened? The second I deleted it, I think it was the day that I had deleted that first video, that this one got claimed. And they were really quick to reinstate the claim when I did the counter. Yeah, something is amiss here. Something does not add up. So that's why I had issued a email to Zagtoons to figure out what the hell is going on here. But there is one other key element to this that we need to discuss. If they are looking to make money off of the video that I had presented on YouTube, they are not going to do it with the video being blocked in 131 countries. That is just not going to happen. If that is being blocked in so many countries, you might as well block it worldwide, which is going to very much hurt your account if that happens, because I do believe YouTube has a system in place to where if that happens, then it might look bad for you on your account. Probably the same as a copyright strike. They might take your channel down if you have too many of those types of issues going about. So let's talk about why this was blocked. Now, you could probably say that they believe that the video in question is competing with the original episode. Now, you can probably say that, but what happens to the other 19 episodes that I have reacted to at this point? What would happen to Luna TK's very popular reaction of the series in of itself? What happens to the many other videos that have done reaction series for this show that have not been claimed? As far as I'm aware, I'm the only one who has had this issue right now, having not only these three companies claim the video, but have been fighting me about this particular episode. No other episode has been fought over. So why is that? If they have a feeling that my video, which is a reaction-based review content, which basically means that it is me reviewing the content, whereas making it fair use by proxy, by definition, then why is it this video? Why is it this episode that they seem to have a big problem with? What is it about the video? What is it about me reacting to the series? Something that does not exceed 2 minutes in length in any of the clips that I use. Why is that a problem? By the way, Guitar Villain has yet to be claimed. Why is that? Maybe they didn't get to him yet. We know about how Toei Animation seems to be draconian in how they do their claims, and we don't know what is ever going to happen with that. I still had to talk in the future concerning what Viz Media has now thought of the situation. However, there is one other aspect to this particular episode that I had done. You may have recalled that there was a certain element to the show that I had begun to really call out in this season, and that is one of the characters, Chloe Bourgeois, is the catalyst to a lot of Hawkmoth's akumatizing, in which she is the one that angers a lot of people to the point to where they are the main targets of Hawkmoth's akumatizing of them to make the monster of the day in these episodes. Yes, I had been critical of it before, but this was the first time I had really gotten tired of seeing her being the person, and I had really touched upon it. I had called the hatred for her being X-Pac heat, to coin a popular internet wrestling community wrestling term to deal with a particular wrestler who people are just getting tired of and just don't want to see on their TV screens anymore. The bad kind of heel heat that you do not want to see as a heel or face for that matter. And I had suggested that perhaps it's getting to the point to where it seems to be some sort of laziness by the writers to not offer a different catalyst to each of these villains. I had said that there could have been maybe a rival chef that had made him angry or something along those lines. Why did it have to be Chloe on nearly all of these episodes? That was something that I had really begun to point out in this episode, and this is the only episode that got claimed. This is the only episode that got blocked in 131 countries. This was the only episode that has been fought over. Yeah, something tells me that this was them perhaps censoring that critique. Why? First of all, this is not Viacom's battle to fight. This is not Disney's battle to fight. If they think that that particular critique is going to hurt people from watching the show, then you know what? Maybe they should instead fix the issue. That is the reason behind critique. That is the reason why critique exists. That's why we have reviews. That's why we have critiquing. So we can make a particular show better by showing where it might be falling at. And that was one of the places, that's one of the many places that I am not going to release my viewpoint on. I stand by those claims. I stand by those issues about that particular character being a problem right now. A major problem, and made people not want to watch the show because they seem as though, okay, this particular character is only doing it for the sake of doing it, and they don't have really any point to the story other than being that one particular catalyst. But here's the thing. There is another episode that I have yet to edit that is also critical of it. She becomes a catalyst yet again. But here's the other thing. I have now seen that at least two particular villains target her. And in that sense, I think maybe there is a particular method to their madness here. However, that does not excuse, if this is the case, and I have no evidence to suspect that that actually is, I have no real way to say whether or not that is the case. I have no way to determine that. This is just pure speculation. But if that is really the case, if that is really the thing that is going on, then I have a feeling that's illegal. You cannot do that. You cannot censor somebody's opinions. That is why they exist. That is why critics exist. That is why the fair use doctrine is even in there. So you can critique episodes, you can critique shows and movies and books and games without anybody trying to censor you on the basis of copyright because they don't like your opinions, because they think your opinions are inconvenient to them being able to sell the products. That is the whole point behind fair use being there. That is the reason why it exists. If they are able to do that, you might as well just say that the fair use doctrine is worth jack. But again, that is something that is just, again, my speculation. Whatever the case is, this is the only episode that is being disputed. This is the only episode that seems to have a huge problem. And the way that they are going about doing this, the way they are going about responding very quickly to the counterclaim, but not the appeal, makes me very suspicious as to what exactly their game is here. Assuming that I am the only one who has ever gotten this issue, does it seem very suspicious that the only one that has ever been fought over like this is the one that was heavily critical of a particular part of the show, of a particular element of the show that is a recurring issue in my eyes. Isn't that really what it comes down to? That it seems very suspicious here? And remember, these are just people who own either the license to show the content on their respective channels, and one who has a smaller hand in the animation side of things, not on the storyline or the storyboard or what happens in the story of what the elements are. Zagtoons, as far as I'm aware, have not had an issue at any point unless On Entertainment is acting on behalf of Zagtoons, and if that's the case, that's a really underhanded thing to do. To have one animation company fight on behalf of another and not have that one animation company say it to your face that they have a problem with your episode being there. Now, could it have been that I had switched to the iTunes version of the show other than Nick.com to get my episodes from? You might say that, but Lunatic has not had her videos claimed either. Although she has not monetized her videos, at least not yet. I had given her that idea before, but the other thing is that the monetization doesn't really matter here because it's blocked anyway. You cannot watch it. There is no way to watch it unless, of course, you know of a way to get past the blocking, but it is in 131 countries. That's about a lot of countries that you need to consider. So yeah, I had given an email to Zagtoons. As soon as I'm done recording this video or recording this audio for the video, I am going to appeal this particular case, this latest one. Let's see how long it takes for them to answer to that, because quite frankly, I do not see them answering that. I do not see them really answering it, at least not right away. And if it gets becoming a strike, then I do doubt that they're going to go any further than me doing a counter notification, which I would do. Let's be quite honest. 9 times out of 10, I've yet to see anybody answer a counter notification with a lawsuit. It has never gone that far. I've yet to see anybody other than Digital Homicide by looks of things, and they're idiots anyway, but I've yet to see anyone go further than that, to have to go further than that. You should not be scared of a counter notification. You should not be scared of filing them. Do not be scared of the copyright system. Do not be scared of fighting these claims. I've seen so many people say, oh, I could do this, I could do this. No, fight them. Why are you scared of doing that? Are you scared that maybe they'll reinstate their claim and you'll get into a battle? Maybe that's what needs to happen. I don't get why so many people who get these counterclaims or get these copyright claims are scared of fighting it. Fight it. Maybe the influx of people fighting them is enough for people to take notice. The Where's the Fair Use hashtag, that's there for a reason. Doug Walker did that for a reason. It's because, yeah, bigger YouTube stars do get these too. And you know what? They have enough of a pull to fight that. And even though you might not have that much of a fan base as he does, there's a lot of people who have like 3 million subscribers that still get copyright claimed. Total Biscuit gets copyright claimed, and he has 2 million subscribers. He's went through battles before. And yes, we have seen people abuse the DMCA system on YouTube in order to stifle critique. And that's why my suspicions might hold some water, even though they're just unsubstantiated claims. They're just me just saying what I have a hunch about. But here's the last thing I want to address here. Why is it that these 3 companies right now are able to just say, hey, we own this, without me even being able to defend myself before they block the damn video? That is where we get the biggest problem. Why is it that whenever these companies go and claim a video, YouTube, using safe harbor laws, have to abide? Before you're even able to defend yourself, they are already punishing you. They're already deeming you guilty before they even hear the other side of the story. I know that there are safe harbor laws. I know that they are protecting themselves under that, but maybe that's what needs to change. Maybe they need to readdress their ability, or inability as it would be, to have a say in it. Right now, YouTube has no say, and they don't really care to have a say. You would notice that when YouTube brings up the issue of copyright, they act as though abuse never happens. The abuse of DMCA never happens on their site. Yes, it does. That is the main issue why things like WTFU exist. That's the main thing why Total Biscuit has said this twice now, that things are wrong with this system. We have said this countless times, and yet YouTube seems to not care. They seem to pretend that this never happens, that Wild Game Studios did not try to take down Total Biscuit's video of Day One Gary's incident because they did not like his critique of it. That they pretend that digital homicide never existed, apparently. That these things do not happen, which they do. They are the main reason why people complain about the copyright system before anything else. People who do not give a care about fair use. People who do not care about your rights because they have an ulterior motive to take down your critique of them using a system in which they know that if they use that excuse, then YouTube has to comply. If they do a community guidelines violation, then it is up to YouTube. It is their final say as to whether or not that video does get taken down, and that takes a little bit longer, and there's no guarantee that you're going to have the video taken down. And this, you're more or less guaranteed to have the video taken down because YouTube has complied with all copyright situations. And these companies, these individuals who abuse the system know of this, and they are fighting tooth and nail to make sure that it never does change. As much as we're trying to fight for YouTube in order to change what is going on, these companies who know how to game the system are fighting just as hard in order to make sure that this stays the way it is because they like the way it is right now. Make no mistake, they want it to stay like this. Why do you think I made a special report about the RIAA's efforts in order to change the system in order to better benefit them? And I don't think anything ever came of that. That was shot down really quickly. But you understand that they really don't want YouTube to change the system. They would rather those safe harbor laws be not there. And YouTube might want to consider maybe getting some power back in these situations. They might want to consider reviewing their situations as it turns to the fair use doctrine and the safe harbor laws. Because this does happen, and they cannot stop pretending that it doesn't happen, that the abuse doesn't happen. They never bring it up when you talk about copyright. They should start bringing it up. You should start saying, hey, if you abuse the system, and we know you do, you're gonna get severe consequences because of it. They do say that, but in passing, and it rarely does happen. There are certain people who have abused the system, mainly in 2014, that have still not been punished for it. We know why they took down certain videos. We know why they did that, and yet no one is punished. That is a bunch of hot air right now, and YouTube really needs to address this, or else things like this are going to continue to happen. And I can guarantee they will continue to happen as long as YouTube does not address this situation. They need to address that they cannot do anything. Their hands are being tied right now, and they're pretending that no one ever abuses these systems. Is just making their hands tied even tighter by their own hand. They are the ones that are tying their own hands behind their backs right now by saying, hey, this doesn't ever happen. Why don't you go back to Congress and saying, hey, our hands are tied because people are abusing the system. We can't do anything about it. Please let us have a better recourse to fight people on their behalf who abuse this system. Because you know they do. You know they do. So do something about it. And to those people who are claiming this video, think about what you're doing. One, you're not helping your matters anyway because, quite frankly, I'm calling you out for one thing. Two, you're not the end-all be-all as to what is up on YouTube as far as this show is concerned. And three, it is sort of obvious what it is you're trying to do here. This video does not violate those guidelines in any way, and yet you're probably going over top of everybody's heads in making your own rules. You are saying those guidelines that we're showing to you, those guidelines that Thomas has made for you, those people for this very purpose, you know what? We don't care about them. We're making our own rules, and we are going to confuse people about who actually makes the rules. This is very confusing. This makes things very confusing about just who exactly are the rules, because now we're changing them because a few people decide that they want to either believe that a review hurts their bottom line or a critique is inconvenient or something else altogether. Maybe it was just a false flag and they don't realize what it is that they're claiming. I do not know. Bottom line is, this is very apparent of an ongoing problem. This needs to be addressed, and while I will try as much as I possibly can to address the situation on my end to try to figure out a way in order to get this thing to be unclaimed in some form or fashion. I've tried once now, and I might try again to see if I can get this thing to where it will stay unblocked. And I apologize to people who are trying to watch this and are getting a problem with this. It's not my fault. all, I'm trying my best in order to get this thing resolved. Hopefully Zag tunes, and I might actually tweet or try to get in touch with Thomas directly to see what he might think about this. Because if he agrees with these 3 claimants, then that is going to be a huge problem going forward. That's just saying. But I doubt he made those ban policies just to not enforce them in a way that is fair to everybody, not just those people who do these kinds of claims. Thanks a lot for hearing me ramble for about 30 or so minutes. There's a lot to get to. I will update you as to what eventually happens. Until next time, my name is JD Shadow, and that just happened.